Hi everyone, welcome back to my garden. It's Ann at Martin House Flowers. After a couple days of working hard in the garden, doing a bunch of fall cleanup, checking things off my lists, I decided to just spend the day doing my errands and then after take a walk to see what I could salvage in the garden to put together a bouquet. These flowers, the gomphrena, were from the cleanup I did in my front south garden with my peonies and all my perennials. And today I decided to take a look at the cut flower garden. That first bed that looks empty, I had planted 250 tulip bulbs, and this bed here I will plant another couple hundred bulbs. I did put in some last minute seedlings of zinnias that you saw and African daisies. So these are my prized snapdragons. I have two beds here that have been growing from April into October, but I've slowly been pulling them apart because I think we really are at the end of the season. But tonight I did cut a few stems for myself. Definitely most of the blooms are spent, not saleable, but good enough for my own personal use. This back bed here in my north-facing backyard has my rising sun redbud that's been struggling with some kind of a fungus. I'm going to have to give it a good prune in the spring, good pruning. Those are my bloomerang lilacs that have had a couple blooms this season. And I'm just taking a little walk through my beautiful evergreens, past my kitchen garden that I'm yet to get at for the fall season. Lots of cleanup there. I need to harvest a bunch of tomatoes and peppers still. I love to sit in this spot here first thing in the morning with my coffee. So I did go by to see Barb at the garden market in Sycamore. I did spot these couple of proven winners, blue muffin viburnums. I've never heard of these before. I looked into it, but honestly, as tempting as it was at 50% off, I'm kind of done with planting for the season just because I'm a little overwhelmed with all the cleanup. My bloom-struck hydrangeas here, my big leaf hydrangeas, are still going strong. They're definitely in their fall state with their blooms. There's some new blooms and some older blooms. And this is my bare root Eustacia vi that's still pushing out new growth. And the arbor rose, climbing rose there, and that happy Jack clematis that I won't prune till the spring, and some Dusty Miller and some perennialized bachelor's buttons that are in the corner there. So this bed has a bunch of perennials like yarrow and poppies. So I'm not sure whether or not I will plant more bulbs in there. But I'm taking a look at my zinnias that are definitely on the border of being ready to get pulled out. But the bees, the bumblebees, are still enjoying the blooms. So I can't bring myself to cutting them back yet. I really hate to take away all of this wonderful eye candy for these bumblebees. So definitely in the next week, I will probably pull these out. But this evening, I managed to cut a few stems for myself to put together a bouquet. Let me know at the end what you think of the bouquet that I put together. Here are some Queenie Lime Red that are looking pretty nice. Some of it's already spent, but I cut myself a few stems of these Queenie Lime Red. And these are the purple and coral Bennery's giant zinnias. Really appreciating how bold and beautiful these blooms are so late in the season, middle of October, and I'm still getting these blooms. I'm so glad that I decided to put some of my extra zinnias here in this long border. That's a bright pink, I think, Bennery's giant, and some other pink. So these hydrangeas to the right that are looking a little bit crispy are my Quick Fire Fab. And I planted them probably 5 feet apart. You can see the gap there. So I decided to put some extra zinnia seedlings in there, probably only maybe 5 little seedlings, and look how ginormous they grew. So I'm really debating on when I will pull these out, definitely by the end of next week. Before I head to Toronto to visit my family, I will be pulling those out. This is Arctic Blue, an heirloom rose that's still pushing out late season blooms. So thrilled with that. And that arbor there has New Dawn that needs to get tamed down and tied back a little bit. I have 2 Olivia Rose Austins back here, and that is, I think, Emily Bronte. This is Princess Alexandra of Kent, which is pushing out lots of beautiful blooms and getting quite large. I have another one of these over by the greenhouse that unfortunately is getting powdery mildew again. So I got on top of it when I first planted it, but this one's doing okay. A little bit of black spot, but that black spot might actually be from Emily Bronte. So I'm so amazed. I'm just deadheading a little bit by hand. I'm so amazed at how late these roses are blooming. These roses in this long rose bed have been here just 1 year. They were planted around May or June of last year. That's Emily Bronte. That is just so tall, so big, but only really bloomed for me once this year. I'm really not that thrilled with Emily Bronte. This is Queen of Sweden. I'm really happy with her. She has these beautiful upright cup blooms, a nice pale pink, a light fragrance. She's at the end here. I have 2 of them. And this is my favorite Nepeta Cat's Pajamas. It's on its 4th set of blooms. Unbelievable. I have cut it back 3 times and it just continues to bloom. That's my crabapple tree that the builder put in, and it has a beautiful showing of pink flowers early spring. Those are At Last roses that are not my favorite. This is Earth Angel. Look at her. I always love to call those long canes Jurassic arms. Now I do need to cut them back after I finish seeing these blooms. Likely by the end of the month we'll have our first frost. I know some of the country has already had their first frost. We don't get them typically till middle of October. And I have some perennial mums in the ground there that I'm hoping will bloom. Those are some limelights. I added 2 more pumpkins. I filled up that basket on the door with some of my little lime hydrangeas. And here's the bed that I cleaned up, cut back all my peonies, cut back my gomphrena, a bunch of perennials in there, my irises, and this is my front south bed and the front porch. I love this time of day. It's the last hour before the sun sets. My containers we did together with just some fall florals. That was coleus that I grew from seed that I do want to see if I can get some cuttings. And just looking back at the backyard there, the colors on the trees are starting to turn. They're starting to turn a little red, which is nice to see. This is Carefree Wonder. Look at all these blooms. This rose isn't my favorite, but she is such a survivor. She has managed to get eaten to the ground by the rabbits and always makes a comeback. So just walking back through the cut flower garden, and I've decided that I do in fact want to cut myself a bouquet. So here are the tomatoes and peppers. To be honest, I'm pretty done harvesting tomatoes, even though there's still quite a few there. It's been really hard to keep up with harvesting tomatoes. Every year I say I want to do less tomatoes. And here's another project that I do want to finally decide on. Do I move these fairy trail frescoes from these containers and put them in the ground back there in that new bed that we've created underneath the crabapple tree straight over there with the mulch, the bags of mulch. Do I put them on each side of that crabapple, or do I get a dolly and move those containers into the garage or greenhouse? Let me know in the comments below what you think I should do. I'm really worried about those fairy trail frescoes surviving the winter. I love that my potting bench is cleaned up. So here are a bunch of snapdragons that I managed to cut from my bed of snapdragons. I grabbed that picture that I had in the greenhouse. I loved using this orange ombre picture last year for fall blooms. I completely forgot about it until I saw some pictures from last fall. So I just randomly cut a bunch of snapdragons and threw them in here, and I will put together an arrangement.